Hey everyone, Nupkas here. We are back with another video. We have a lot of updates gonna give you heads up on today. So we have a free games and the free weekend games and the new updates from the deal and the franchises sale. So without wasting any time, let's get to the video. So the first free game is coming up from the Epic Games, which is the two of them. First one is the Beyond Blue. The Beyond Blue is an underwater adventure explorer in the Epic Games, where the single player narrative adventure takes you deep into our planet's beating blue heart. Explore the awesome wonder and unbounded mystery that exists within world's ocean. Next is free game Humankind. So Humankind is a strategy turn-based multiplayer and up to rewrite the history and shaping the civilizations as a unique you are. Combine 60 cultures from the ancient era to the modern age to lead your empire to the victory. Building thrive cities, outsmart rivals in epic battles, spread your influences and leave your mark on humankind. So these are the strategy turn-based games and simulation games, which is totally based on the civilizations, and you can build everything simulations, sort of kind of like Sims, but in a different world where you can take the empire's control. So the free weekend is coming up from the Green Hill. It will be ending up on 30 to 40 hours. So if you haven't experienced, it is currently 60% off, 187, almost like a $2 few cents, although like a $3. So it will be an open world survival multiplayer game. So plunge into the open world survival simulation set in the extreme conditions of the uncharted Amazon jungle. Use the real life survival techniques to craft, hunt, fight and gather resources. Set massive shelters to raise fortress. Survive alone or team up with your friends and challenge the jungle together. So this will be ending up on soon, like 30 to 40 hours. So go, and I'll suggest you the worth to try on because it has more than 60,000 of positive reviews. So that's a great way to experience this kind of game. So almost it's a free, so you can check it out. The next update is coming up from the 2K franchise sales. So 2K franchise sales gonna end up on 13th February of this month. So they have a lot of deals coming up from this Borderlands collections Pandora's box, which will be 40% off, 2,880, almost like a $30 to $32, in which you can get all these Borderlands series and the DLCs from the Borderlands 1 Game of the Year, Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3, and including all these DLCs. So the next will be coming up from the Mafia trilogy. So Mafia trilogy having all these Mafia from the definitive editions, Mafia 2 definitive editions and Mafia 3 definitive editions, where Mafia 1 and Mafia 2 is the remake. 77% off, 837, almost $10. So it will be worth to check it out because you're gonna experience all these storylines and best gameplays from the Mafia series, which comes up the next game, which is the Risk of Rain 2, which is 67% off, 237, almost like a $3. So you will have all the funs from the multiplayer's perspectives and third-person action roguelike and co-op as well. So these games gonna requirement has a low PC specific, so it's worth to check it out. Borderlands 3 comes up 26% off, and including the ultimate editions, which include the DLCs, 26% off, 1,608, almost like a $18. While standalone Borderlands 3 will cost you 90% off, $299, almost like a $3 to $4. So the next games is coming up from the remastered versions of the BioShock, 80% off. This offer is gonna end on 20th February, $349, almost like a $4, in which you get the BioShock collections, which will have the BioShock 1, the BioShock 2 and the BioShock Infinite, and including their remastered versions. So you have the two choices: either you can play the original versions or you can play the remastered version as well. Midnight Sun from the Marble Sky coming up for the 80% off, $1,139, almost like a $12 to $13. While 2K25, which NBA coming up from this 60% off, $1,319, almost like a $14 to $15. So these are the franchises deals from this 2K publisher sales. The next coming up from the last time to grab all these deals from the Capcom franchises. I'm gonna one-shot all these because a lot of games here. So the first is coming up from the Dead Rising remastered versions, which is 20% off, $2,339, almost like $25. Ace Attorney Investigations Collections 25% off, $1964, almost like a $20 to $21. Street Fighter 6 is 50% off, $1999, almost like a $20 to $21. While if I'm gonna go for the new releases, Dragon's Dogma 2 43% off, $2,550, almost like a $26 to $27. While Koditsugami Path of Goddesses is 20% off, $2,615, almost like a $28 to $30. While Monster Hunter games, which you're gonna have Monster Hunter Stories 20% off, $1,567, almost like a $17 to $18. While Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wing of the Ruin is 25% off, $1,986, almost like a $20 to $21. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wing of the Ruin Deluxe Editions is 30% off, $2,240, almost like $24 to $25. While Combination Monster Hunter Story Collections is 34% off, $2,309, almost like a $25 to $26. So if you're gonna have the Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Sunbreak together, 75% off, $992, almost like $11 to $12. While if you go for the Monster Hunter World, it is 67% off, $824, almost like a $10 to $11. While Monster Hunter Iceborne Master Editions is 74% off, $1,139, almost like a $12 to $13. And next is coming up from the Resident Evil games. It's Resident Evil 4 Remake, 50% off, $1,309, almost like a $14 to $15. While if you're gonna have remake trilogy from the Resident Evil 2, 3, 4 remakes and including their DLCs, which is separate ways, so it will cost 45% off, $3,134, almost like a $35 to $32. So the Biohazard and Resident Evil 7 Village Collections, 63% off, $1,960, almost like a $20 to $21, and including all the DLCs. Resident Evil Village Gold Edition is 60% off, $1,199, almost like a $12 to $13. Resident Evil 3 is 75% off, $584, almost like a $6 to $7. While Resident Evil Biohazard Gold Edition is 61% off, $985, almost like a $10 to $11. Resident Evil 2 Remake Deluxe Edition 75% off, $624, almost like a $6 to $7. While Resident Evil 2 Remake is 75% off, $499, almost like a $5 to $6. Resident Evil 4 Original Version HD Ultimate Editions is 75% off, $299, almost like a $3 to $4. So if you want to enjoy the original versions of Resident Evil 4, which is totally famous all along with this series is from the Resident Evil, so you can have these red dot crosshair experience. 75% off, $299, almost like $3 to $4. Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition is 75% off, $327, almost like a $4. Resident Evil 6 Complete Pack 75% off, $327, which also have the co-op campaign, online co-op as well, so you can play with your friend and having fun. Resident Evil, the original version, is 75% off, $299, almost like a $2 to $3. Resident Evil 0 version, which is 75% off, $299, almost like a $3 to $4. Next comes up with the Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6 is 50% off, $199, almost like a $20 to $21. Street Fighter 5 Champions Edition Season 5 Premium Pass Bundle, 50% off, $1,309, almost like a $13 to $14. While Street Fighter 5 Champions Editions, 50% off, $654, almost like a $6 to $7. While Ultra Street Fighter 4 is 87% off, $233, almost like a $2 to $3. The next comes up is Devil May Cry games. So Devil May Cry 5 plus Virgil is, and the DLC 60% off, $935, almost like a $10 to $11. While just with the Virgil 67% off, $577, almost like a $6 to $7. Devil May Cry 4 Special Editions, which has up to 4K display support and more HD textures, 70% off, $449, almost like a $5 to $6. While Devil May Cry HD collections, which will have all this Devil May Cry 1, 2 and 3, 67% off, $907, almost like a $10 to $11. While Devil May Cry Reboot is 75% off, $449, almost like a $4 to $5. And if you're gonna buy for the Dead Rising series, so Dead Rising 2 is 75% off, $299, almost like a $3 to $4. Dead Rising 3 Apocalypse Editions is 80% off, $199, almost like a $2 to $3. Dead Rising 4 80% off, $399, almost like a $3 to $4. The other games and DLCs is coming up from these Remember Me, which is 80% off, $359, almost like a $3 to $4. Lost Planet 3 is 80% off, $299, almost like a $3 to $4. While Dragon's Dogma, the first version, Dark Horizon, is 84% off, $287, almost like a $3 to $4. I will highly suggest you to have this game if you want to enjoy the original Dragon's Dogma. It's worth to playing instead of Dragon's Dogma 2. So it is very cheap. Exoprimal is 75% off, $992, almost like a $10 to $11. Bionic Commando is 68% off, $191, almost like a $2 and few cents. The Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, 70% off, $620, almost like a $8 to $9. Moving to the next update is coming up from this Hogwarts Legacy, which is 70% off, $1199, almost like a $12 to $13. And there's also digital deluxe editions as well, which is 70% off, $1409, almost like a $14, $15, $16. And there's also Quidditch games included separate to it, which I don't like. They have included in the in-game items or something. So if the separate prices, it's worth to check it out. It's a totally immersive open world action RPG. Now you can take the control of the actions and be the center of your own adventure in the Wizarding world. So it's totally based on the J.K. Rowling's novel Harry Potter series. So everything you experience is totally coming up from these books and novels as best-selling ones. So it is a magic open world fantasy single player, so you have to choose your own path and choose the classes which totally based on the stories. So 70% off, $1199, almost like a $12 to $13, so it's worth to check it out. Moving to the next update is coming up from the Dying Light 2 Stay Human. So it has a 60%, 7% off, $999, almost like a $10 to $11, and it has anniversary sale which will have like in-game items and all the makeovers from the characters and a lot of weapons, and the bundles is coming up from these games, which is highly appreciable because 10th anniversary and a lot of updates, almost like multiple gigs of bytes or updates showing up on this for the game 10th anniversary, which you can collect all these week 1, week 2, week 3 rewards and those communities missions where right now it's low gravity bounties and low gravity community missions. So you can complete all this pilgrim outpost, login and link your Steam account to it and get all the rewards in the in-game items. So it's a 67% off, $9.89, almost like a $10 to $11. So I highly suggest you to buy this because from the Dying Light series, the 1 and the 2 has been improving a lot, and we have received a lot of patches and a lot of updates. So it's refining the games and all. The next update is coming up from the World War Z, which is 77% off, $4.94, almost like a $5 to $6. So this is totally based on the zombies multiplayer online co-op action games. You can buy the Aftermath, which has DLCs and Aftermath Deluxe editions, respective prices and all that stuff. At $1,000 for the Aftermath, which is $11 to $12. Aftermath Deluxe editions, which is $238, 48% off, which is $14 to $15. So it's a hard-pounding co-op third-person shooter for the up to 4-player co-op missions. Massive swarms of the hundreds of zombies focused on a fast-paced, grimaciously spectacular action game. So these are all the games from the free one, and check out these free weekend games and free on the Epic Store and the publisher sales from the Capcom and 2K. And these are the updates which is currently going on with their own anniversary and the updates for the lunar years for their expansions and all. So that's it from my side. I'll bring back the new videos and updates on the games, so I'll meet you in the next video. Stay tuned for that. Noob Castle out here.
Yeah, boy.